Welcome, Greek U Nation, to episode number 299 of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Ayalon, CEO of Greek University. I'm a speaker and a two-time author. Our second book is called From Letters to Leaders, Redefining New Member Education and Leveraging Belonging to Eliminate Hazing. That is available now. Go and pick up that book on Amazon today. We call these episodes the Fraternity Foodie Podcast because there is nothing like great food to bring college students together. Fun fact, my own fraternity in college had fundraisers where we signed up college students for credit cards and we were paid per completed application that we got. The problem is that the students ended up abusing their credit with all of this newfound money that came raining down from the skies like manna from the heavens, and their credit ratings were impacted negatively for so many years afterwards. So talking about repairing your credit is an important topic for many college students who are listening right now that maybe didn't understand the ramifications of the debt that they were taking on, or maybe we can prevent it from happening in the first place. So I am so excited to have our next guest on. And our next guest is Brittany Greene. She is an entrepreneur, international best-selling author, keynote speaker, and mentor. These are some of the titles that are held by Brittany. As the founder and CEO of Crown Financials, she is committed to helping students raise their credit scores from around 50 to 300 points without involving a credit repair company. Her services have been acknowledged by Yahoo Finance, Yahoo News, NBC, Fox, Buzzfeed, 103, The Beat Miami, and HBCU Wallstreet. Her books, Mind and Money Manual, A to Z Credit, Project PreRich, The Breakthrough, and You Are Enough aim to help individuals develop financial concepts, strong leadership qualities, self-assurance, and the confidence so that they can fearlessly follow their aspirations while maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Welcome to the show, Brittany.
Yes, I'm super excited to be here. Thank you so much. And what a wonderful introduction. I was like, oh, who is she?
Well, what can I say? I have a face for podcasts, and so, I mean, this is just the perfect place. But the voice, listen, if you want me to travel and introduce you on stages all over the country,
Yes,
I'm available.
that's what I need. That's what I need.
I love it. I love it. So, all right, let's go way back. I think our audience, they need to know more about you, where you came from. And so you actually chose St. Leo University for your undergraduate experience. And you and I know a lot of friends at St. Leo. So why did you choose St. Leo in Florida for your undergraduate experience?
Yeah, it's so funny. I was a part of this Upward Bound program, college prep program. And honestly, I didn't know about college until that program. So I'm like, okay, so I'm choosing schools. We were at USF, University of South Florida, running the program. And I was just applying to different schools. But we went and actually did a campus visit to St. Leo. And I was like, oh, this is small. It's cute. I like small and cute. I'm small and cute. I want to go there. And I ended up at St. Leo, and it was an awesome experience. I got a chance to meet some amazing people, some folks that I actually still connect with today.
Yeah, those people are absolutely amazing. And I'm small and cute too. So, that would make sense for me too. Somehow I ended up at a huge school, but I do like those small and cute schools. Like, let's not knock those schools, because there's something about that close-knit community where you know everybody on campus and people are just so friendly on that campus. I mean, just the best people. That's what makes it really a great place. It's the people. Is what makes St. Leo what it is. Now, so today you're a professional credit strategist, you're a speaker, an author, you're a course creator at Crown Financials. So what made you want to get into this area of expertise on credit?
Yeah, so it's actually funny. I was denied a job because of my credit. So I started working on my credit, but I looked back to see where did I damage it? And it happened in college. And it's so funny that you said the organizations were like, in exchange for signing these folks up for credit card, you would get what you got. Well, they got me with some food. And that's why I think I'm in the right place at the right time, because when it came down to food, if it's food involved, I'm there. Okay. I am there. I may be small and cute, but I can eat. Okay. So I remember getting signed up for my first credit card. It was in exchange for pizza. And I'm like, as this broke college student at the time, yeah, this pizza sound nice and I get some money. Oh yeah. But I didn't have that education outside of, my mom saying, don't get a credit card. And I'm like, well, I think I can outsmart my mom. I think I can, make it happen. And for a long time in school, I did. So what I would do was I would run up my credit card. And then once I got my refund check, I would pay my credit card down. Man, I was sitting at a 720 credit score, feeling good. But then guess what happens when you leave school? The refund check stopped coming. So that balance was just there. So that on top of some medical bills shot my credit score down. So then when I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll just pay all this stuff off once I get a better job. So I'm starting to apply for things. At this point, I had my master's from St. Leo as well. So I'm like, okay, I'm good. I got the master's degree. I got internships. I got equity at this company. I'm good. And I was denied because of my credit. And I'm like, well, wait, this is the one thing I didn't really learn about. And I should have listened to mom. But then there's a thing as having no credit. So I probably would have been, denied for that as well. So to see myself say, okay, I got all this knowledge from school, the internships, the connections, the relationships, you name it. Yet I'm denied for the one thing that I didn't know that I was going to need to have in order, which was credit. And then I learned that 46% of employers are checking your credit to determine if you're going to be hired or not. So that's how I ended up getting into this work, because I'm like, wait, well, hold on. If this is the case and I didn't know about it and all these other folks didn't know about it, this is room for opportunity. So I put my nose in the ground, started educating myself, started developing strategies over these last 5 years. And now it has developed into this amazing program where I travel to different colleges and universities to teach about credit, mindset development, and how you can get yourself prepared for life after college.
Wow, that is just an amazing story. Thank you so much for sharing that, because it just kind of shows that anybody can fall into that trap. I mean, it's so easy to fall into. They lured you in with pizza. I mean, what college student is going to say no to pizza?
And it was good. It was so good.
Of course it was. Of course it was. You smelled it probably as soon as you got into the student union, and you're like, man, where's that pizza coming from? And they said, hey, we'll give you pizza. Just sign your name on this application.
And I signed. I signed.
I'm sure you did. And you know what? I mean, it almost seems like predatory, to go after college students that way. I mean, it doesn't seem right. And they clearly don't have the education. I mean, I'm learning something today. You told me that 46% of employers are checking their employees' credit before offering a job. I mean, that is a huge number, and that should be a wake-up call to every college student who is listening right now. I mean, that certainly is one reason why a good credit score is obviously important, because you might not be hired. I mean, are there other reasons why a good credit score is important?
Yes, of course, because of course, you need to get your job. Right. But if you want to run a business, I have so many college students who are taking that route of entrepreneurship while they're in college, and they're like, hey, I want to apply for business funding. Well, guess what? They look at your credit to determine those things, right? To see if you're able to get business funding. If you want to get an apartment, insurance, if you're looking to so many things that they check your credit for. It's like literally almost your livelihood. And of course, things are changing now. They're coming up with all these new different concepts to help folks out, but they're checking your credit for almost everything that you do, including probably breathing right now.
Oh my gosh, that is just wild. I mean, you could be a college student who has a great idea for a company, whether that's a product you want to sell or a service you want to sell. You're going to need startup capital to get your company off the ground. How are you going to do that if your credit is completely wrecked? Or you have no credit at all, just like you said. I mean, I think that's another thing that we need to talk about is, you need some credit to prove that you can handle that kind of responsibility. So, all right, you talked about helping to, increase credit scores between 50 to 300 points. What are some of the strategies that you use to raise people's credit scores?
Yeah, and this is going to sound so crazy, and everyone looks at me crazy when I say this. It is about the strategies, but it starts here. It starts with the mindset and our beliefs around credit and money and our behaviors. Like if we haven't checked our mindset and how we believe and what we think about money and how important credit is, it doesn't matter what strategy I give you, when adversity comes or when contrast comes, you're not going to be able to uphold it. I know for a fact, and of course I'll give both sides of it, but when I tell someone, okay, here's your strategy plan, they're like, oh, okay, great. And they're thinking, oh, it's just going to be a straight shot. Every time, it never fails. Someone gets pregnant, someone gets ill, they lose their job. Something happens to kind of see, are you going to stick to this strategy the way you said you are? And a lot of people will give up if they have not first checked their mindset and their beliefs around this process. It's something that you have to close your eyes and visualize yourself having a 750 plus credit score before it actually gets there, right? The how is going to come, but you have to first check that mindset to say, okay, what do I believe about money, right? What are my current behaviors with money? If I get this credit card, am I going to run it according to the strategy, or am I going to think that everything is an emergency, and I'm going to spend it on parties? Am I going to spend it on food for the week, right? Am I going to budget it out correctly? Checking those beliefs and your behaviors are the first step to improving your credit, period. That's number one. So we work on that because a lot of us have had these limiting beliefs around money just from how we see our parents grow up, right? The struggle life, the survival mode, versus looking at it as an opportunity to leverage, right? We always have this bad connotation against credit of, oh, credit is bad and if debt is bad, right? But if you can pivot that perspective of the problem, oh, that's my favorite thing to say, pivoting your perspective of the problem, you're going to be able to say, oh, wow, I can actually leverage this to build wealth. If I just get correct these limiting beliefs, when contrast comes, when my path gets kind of shaken up and thrown off, I'm able to get and plug back into the strategy, right? So mindset, beliefs, and behaviors, right? After that, sticking to the strategy of paying on time every time. And this is the most important piece, communicating when you can't, right? There's a certain embarrassment that we feel of like, I don't want to tell them that I can't pay it because of this, that, and the third, right? No, there are programs in place that actually help you if you're struggling, right? When I lost my job back in 2018 and became a full-time entrepreneur, I had to make those calls. And that's how I found out, oh no, we have credit card protection programs that will pay your bill for up to 6 months while you get back on your feet, right? I wouldn't have known that if I didn't communicate, right? So pay on time, every time, communicate when you can, right? And then that last thing that I always like to tell folks, because it has such a major impact, is understanding your credit cards are there to be a tool for you, right? Don't get in there. That's why checking your mindset and your belief is so important, because when you start to use your credit card and you're keeping it below that 30% mark every time it's time for it to report, right? They report once a month. So you want to make sure that when they're reporting, you're keeping your utilization low, right? But below 30%. If you don't check your belief system and how you view money and credit, your utilization is always going to be over the limit. You're going to be at 90% utilization because you're thinking, I have to survive. I have to just get by. When you're thinking with a wealthy mindset, when you're thinking with a growth mindset of, hey, I'm going to use this tool as a leverage, you're going to make sure that you stick to that strategy of, okay, when it's time for my credit card bill to be due, I need to make sure that it's reporting under 30%. That means I'm not going to use a bunch of it, right? I'm going to use it for my needs, meaning budget it out. If you say, hey, I'm going to go grocery shopping and I'm going to use my credit card. Okay. Making sure that when your the money that you have depositing into your debit card can cover that expense. You don't want to have this, this credit card that's booming with expenses. And then when an emergency happens, you can't pay it down because you were focusing on using your credit card for your wants versus, hey, I'm going to budget out $100 for food this month. I'm going to use it on my credit card. And in about 10 days, I'm going to go ahead and pay that $100 off. And now my credit utilization is down. My score is looking good. I'm leveraging my credit in the right way. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense. I think, the mindset that you were talking about is really the most critical piece, right? Separating the wants from the needs. And I think, with given unlimited money, sure, people are going to spend the money, and that's how credit cards make all their money. It's off of the interest, off of your wants. not necessarily what you really need. So I think really understanding that, putting together a budget and saying, this is a need, you know, and like food on the table, that's a need. Like none of
Right,
us are going to be able to operate if we can't eat.
right,
And then this is a want, you know, a fancy brand new Mustang. Yeah, it looks
yeah,
real good, but that's a hefty payment I got to make every month. Maybe I'm just going to keep this beater car that I've had in college and
right,
not upgrade right away, and then put all kinds of financial stress,
right.
right?
Right. And it really boils down to, and this will be that final piece of that puzzle of, I tell my students, hey, if you're going to use your credit cards, use it for a bill that you have. It could literally be a phone bill that your parents are like, I'm no longer paying for you. Go pay it. You use your credit card to pay that bill. You know, you need your phone to get around and to be accessible to folks. So you're going to make sure that you pay that bill versus if you're putting those shoes on your credit card, an emergency happens, you're going to want to pay that thing down all small. And those things are going to add up and not in a good way.
Wow. So, all right. So today I have a good credit score today. How can I maintain that good credit score? Should I be checking, you know, all of, you know, these various services to make sure that my credit score stays high? I know, you know, checking that too often is probably not a good thing.
No,
You
it's
know, so
actually
like, how
a
do
good
I
thing.
keep it? How do I keep it once I get
Yeah.
it?
I'm glad you said that because actually checking your credit, if you sign up for a monitoring system, which is, I love Experian.com, right? It shows you your FICO scores, which are super important. You have FICO and you have Vantage. And I help my students to understand why both are important, why you want to balance out both, but also why you want to use those certain systems like Experian.com gives you a free version to look at your FICO credit scores, and you can do free upgrades to be able to look at all three of your Vantage reports and all the up to 28 credit scores that are associated with under the Vantage model. Under the FICO model. Then you can use a site like Credit Karma where you're looking at your Vantage scores because those are as equally important. Just a little bit of good tidbit to give you some education here. 90% of lenders are looking at your FICO scores, what you see on Experian.com. Right? But 10% of lenders are looking at your Vantage scores, the things that you may see on creditkarma.com. So I have a lot of folks who are like, oh, well, I was told don't use Credit Karma because it's not accurate. It's not that it's not accurate, it's just different, right? So monitoring your scores and signing up for Credit Karma and Experian.com, if you're looking at it first for yourself, you're not hurting your credit score. But if someone else is constantly pulling reports for you, you're going to check your credit score. Now that's going to hurt you, right? But having your Credit Karma, you know, having that to look at your Vantage scores, because that's free and we like free. And then Experian.com to look at your FICO credit scores. That's going to be free as well, unless you do the upgraded version, which again, you can do it as you need to, pay for a month as you need to, and then downgrade if you need to. But having that and monitoring and looking at the activity, it gives you little buttons. It's charts and buttons in there that you can press, like on Credit Karma, see what's changed. You can see what's affecting your credit score right then and there and see how to correct it, right? I have a course where I teach you how to understand your Vantage, how to understand your FICO, and how to interpret what these changes mean. So as you may see fluctuation, right? Fluctuation may mean you've used too much of your credit card, right? And maybe you need to pay it down. That shoots your score right back up. Or maybe some fraud happened and a collection account is there. And now we need to handle that in a certain way. Monitoring your report on a monthly basis helps you to see what's going on, get educated so that you can interpret what's going on. And then lastly, get protected with identity protection so that if anything does happen, it's a quick resolution and you're not completely tail out.
I love all these tips. I love that you're sharing free resources because you understand the college students who are listening right now. They're broke. I mean, let's just throw that out there, okay? They want the free pizza on the line for the credit card. So
and I like to tell them they're pre-rich. I like to tell them they're pre-rich. If you're pre-rich, that means that's the time for you to be soaking up all of that knowledge, right? That's a part of that mindset shift, right?
Yeah.
You're pre-rich.
Right. I like that. I like that a lot. And, you know, and by checking all of these credit reports that you're talking about with these free accounts, then you could be notified if there is a problem, right?
Yeah.
And so let's assume for a second that you check your credit score and then you find out you're actually in collections. And you know, so how do you resolve this? How do you handle the debt collectors? How do you remove or settle a collection account that shows up on your report?
we'd be here all day. I'm not gonna lie to you. We'd be here all day. It is a process. And that's actually why I developed the masterclass that I have, because every collection account is different, right? Mm-hmm. But what I can tell you out the gate is do not pay that collection until you have properly validated it. Meaning they have to show that it's an original contract with your signature at the bottom, or they have to show something from the original creditor. Like, so say, for example, Capital One has to send a letter that says, hey, we're now transferring this debt over to such and such collection agency. If they have those two documents, you want to go ahead and do a pay for deletion, right? However, there are certain instances where they can't prove that, right? They've already paid for the debt that was sold to collections. So that means it's a letter process that has to happen, right? In certain instances, the collection agencies don't respond. So if they don't respond, then that means you may want to submit a complaint. And I teach all of that in that masterclass, because every process for every person looks different. That's why there is no one shoe fits all, because everyone's credit file looks different. Some folks have collections. Some folks have closed accounts. Some folks have charged off accounts. Every account that's on your file that may be closed or charged off doesn't need to be removed from your report. This is why getting that education and understanding what your file needs and how to interpret, well, this says closed, but does it have more positive history before it charged off? If so, that's an account you want to keep, versus if it was negative from the start, that's an account you want to work to either pay off and get removed. Or, there's so much that goes into it. This is why I say that it's like a muscle. It's something that you want to get educated on. You want to learn about that, what you need specifically, so that you can apply the steps that are best for you. It's a whole game out here, but they have these quick fixes. Oh, fix your credit in 90 days and we guarantee this and that. No, it's a muscle, because after they fix your credit, you got to know how to maintain it.
These are some great points.
Yes.
I'm so happy that you're on the show, because there's a lot here that I have no idea about. And you actually have some programs out there. You launched Project PreRich, which is this financial literacy program for college students. Yes. Tell our college students that are listening right now, what kind of things are they going to learn in this program with you?
So if you are listening and you're a college student, run to your campus activities board or your student activities board and let them know we want a Project PreRich credit financial literacy program to come to the school, right? I have it to where we either do one workshop, which that really just kind of starts the conversation, but we can do it up to where I'm there with you guys throughout a 6-month period, and we're educating, we're holding you accountable, right? We're getting you the knowledge, we're creating that mindset shift, because it takes about 21 days for you to change a habit, right? So during that time of that 6-month period, while we're, having this time together and developing these concepts, we're making sure that it's sticking. We're making sure that it's actually transformation, because we spend a lot of time here. Everything is 90% mindset, 10% skill, right? So we're hounding in and pivoting a lot of those negative perceptions, those limiting beliefs, those things that are no longer serving you or won't help you build wealth once you leave college. Because I'll be honest with you, everything has been a setup to where once you actually leave college, you're already in this debt. So they already make you feel like you're 10 steps behind. Well, here's a way that you can be 10 steps ahead by having perspective shift with your mindset, right? So we spend a lot of time doing that. Then we start talking about, hey, how to understand credit. What is credit, right? How to interpret your reports, how to ensure that you are, oh, this is so good. It's getting me excited. You're having the right behaviors to match your belief system, right? How to overcome failure, how to embrace failure, right? With financial files and what you're doing with your financial file. Those are things that we talk about when it comes down to, we do a deep dive into credit. And of course, budgeting is a part of that, because you have to know how to budget your credit file out, because a lot of the money that you have, like the money that you have outside of it, your credit is typically a reflection of that and your education, right? So we talk about those things, how to budget and different things like that. And then of course we have different components where you work with my partners that I give you access to that talk about budgeting, saving, debt resolution, how to pay off debt in 10 years or less, leveraging your credit. So I get that foundational mindset and credit behavior shift. And then we transition over to the other financial literacy components.
Man, I love it. It's Project PreRich. It sounds really, really good. And, we've spent a lot of time here talking about debt and credit cards and all of that other stuff. All the college students that I'm talking to, they want to start to build some wealth for themselves. I mean, forget about this debt. I mean, do you have any tips for the college students who are listening right now in order to start to build wealth?
Personal development. What I realize is everyone wants to, let me jump to this shit because it builds wealth. Let me jump to this shit because it builds wealth. But you don't even know yourself. If you want to build wealth, it starts with yourself. You are the wealth, right? You'll develop what it is that you like, or you'll find what path is right for you, that investment vehicle that's best for you when you personally develop, right? I started reading. At first, I started jumping into Forex and credit building, and I was trying to do all these real estate and all these different avenues. But I saw the most success when I started personally developing myself, healing a lot of those traumas, right? Healing a lot of those limiting beliefs, all of those things that I getting the education on myself that I needed, learning how to speak the language of wealth, learning how to call wealth forth to me by reading books, Becoming Supernatural, The Game of Life and How to Play It, Imagination Creates Reality, a lot of financial books, but everything came from personal development. Because when you start with you, whatever vehicle that you're going to insert yourself in, you'll be successful. But you'll start to lose money and lose wealth when you haven't done the work on yourself. The strategies are great, but everything is 90% mindset, 10% skill. So if you master this, oh man, it doesn't matter what you go into. It does not matter, but it starts here.
Wow, you're dropping some knowledge bombs here today on the podcast. Yeah. I think the students are going to have to rewind, go back and listen again in order to fully really understand everything that you're talking about in terms of mindset and building wealth. I mean, I think it's fantastic. You listed off a whole bunch of great books. I know those books. Those are some great, great books that talk about building wealth that I think would be a great resource for the college students who are listening right now. So all of this sounds absolutely fantastic. Now, I do get to your area of Florida pretty often, and I love finding great spots to eat while I'm traveling. So the next time I'm in town in your city in Florida, where should I go to get a great meal?
Oh, I got 2 spots, okay? I'm a big seafood lover. So West Fortune Fish Market, they have some of the best seafood, right? But I also am a girl of good barbecue. Oh my goodness. Listen, I am a girl of a good barbecue. So from Thursday to Sunday, you'll find me at Rack City Ribs out in Gibsonton. Oh my goodness. And I cannot forget. Oh my goodness. He probably bite my head off because if I don't mention this, but the Exchange. My honey is a head chef. So he's there. Oh, and Taco Tuesdays. Oh my goodness. We have so many places. Show Bar on Tuesdays. It has amazing Taco Tuesdays with my honey and Chef Celeste. Oh my goodness. And then the Exchange. They have great vibes, great food, great drinks. I couldn't forget it, but yeah, Rack City Ribs, if you want some good barbecue, and if you want some good seafood, West Fortune.
See, I knew I was asking the right person about good food. I mean, you got yourself a personal chef that's cooking for you. I mean,
he was making my food as I was on the podcast. So I
That all sounds really, really good. Listen, anytime you're in Nashville, I'll take you to some barbecue in Nashville. I think we know a thing or two about barbecue here in Tennessee. So I'd be glad to take you over for some delicious barbecue. You let me know when you're in town, all right?
I will.
All right, so if our students who are listening right now, if they want to enroll in your course, Project PreRich, maybe they want to bring you in to be a speaker on their campus like you were talking about with the Student Activities Board, where should they go to connect with you and talk about all of this stuff?
Yeah, so first and foremost, you can find me on any social media. I'm still thinking about food.
Me too.
I'm thinking about soup. You can find me on any social media channel as Brittany Greene, or I am Brittany Greene, BrittanyGreene. Don't forget the E. And you can find me on TikTok. I'm on Instagram, of course, Brittany Greene on Facebook or LinkedIn. And if you want to get me for a workshop, you can go to booking@crownedfinancialsllc.com to send an email. Or, of course, you can go right directly through my website, www.crownedfinancialsllc.com.
crownfinancialsllc.com. Brittany Green, you are the real deal. I am convinced that you are the real deal. Nobody knows credit better than you do. So I am just so glad you shared all of your wisdom with our listeners today.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much for what you do.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, it's my pleasure. And to the students who are listening, if you enjoyed this talk with Brittany, make sure that you like it. Make sure that you share it on social media with other college students that need help with their credit score and making better decisions in terms of their budget, their finances, and maybe just building some wealth along the way. So we really appreciate it. To our listeners, thanks so much for paying attention. Thanks so much for listening. And we hope to see you on another episode of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. We'll see you next time.